It's strange how everyone talks about Europe's declining influence, yet one country in the continent's east is quietly doing the opposite, rising faster than many of the traditional Western powers. Poland wasn't supposed to become an economic success story. For decades, the narrative painted it as a struggling post-communist state. And yet, here we are, watching a nation that began with chaos, shortages, and uncertainty evolve into one of Europe's most dynamic economies. That paradox alone makes people stop scrolling and start paying attention. But here's the controversial twist. Poland didn't follow the normal European playbook. While others slowed down, Warsaw sped up. While some countries waited for perfect conditions, Poland acted in imperfect ones and still won. That attitude created a Poland economy capable of outperforming giants, reshaping Eastern Europe growth, and turning the Poland rise into a modern case study for anyone who wants to understand economic transformation. And the craziest part? Most of Europe still underestimates it. That's exactly why this story matters. If you stay until the end, you'll understand not just how Poland became a manufacturing powerhouse, an innovation center, and a new geopolitical heavyweight, but why this momentum is far from over. You'll get practical insights, investment-level takeaways, and a clear picture of where Poland's future is heading in the next decade. By the time we're done, you'll see Poland not as a background character in Europe's story, but as one of its next protagonists. And trust me, the chapters ahead reveal details most people have never heard before. Poland's transformation after 1989 is one of those rare stories where the odds were stacked against the nation, yet the outcome rewrote economic textbooks. When the communist system collapsed, the Poland economy was stagnant, outdated, and insulated from global competition. But instead of dragging its feet, Poland embraced radical reforms known as shock therapy, a move that jump-started Polish economic growth faster than most analysts expected. This is where the dramatic before and after contrast really hits. Overnight, prices were liberalized, industries privatized, and markets opened up. And that bold pivot planted the first seeds of what we now call the Poland rise. Most countries in Eastern Europe suffered deep recessions during their transitions, yet Poland avoided the catastrophic collapses experienced by its neighbors. Between 1990 and 2000, GDP per capita nearly doubled, a rate unmatched in the region, and a preview of the Eastern Europe growth wave that later followed. Investors sometimes described Poland at that time as Europe's startup, lean, hungry, and willing to adapt. It reminds me of early-stage companies that pivot quickly and outperform slow-moving competitors. That same mindset turned chaos into opportunity and set Poland on a trajectory toward becoming a European economic power. This era also tested Poland's human capital in ways rarely discussed. Families had to adapt to a free market overnight. Workers retrained themselves, and small entrepreneurs, previously suppressed by the communist system, blossomed into the backbone of the Poland manufacturing hub. It's similar to watching a city rebuild after a storm. The destruction is real, but so is the drive to rebuild better than before. And as Poland's geopolitics evolved, the world began to notice a country that refused to follow the script imposed on it for decades. Yet this was only the foundation. The real acceleration came when Poland stepped onto a bigger stage, one that would amplify these early gains and reshape its economic destiny entirely. When Poland joined the European Union in 2004, it wasn't just signing paperwork. It was stepping into an economic engine that would turbocharge Polish economic growth for decades. The Union expansion impact became visible almost instantly. Highways appeared where there were none, airports expanded, and modern rail corridors connected Polish cities with Western markets. Over 200 billion euros of EU funds have flowed into the country since accession, making Poland the single largest net beneficiary in the entire bloc. This injection didn't just rebuild infrastructure, it rewired the Poland economy for global competitiveness. Foreign companies saw opportunity everywhere. Manufacturers, tech firms, logistics giants, everyone wanted a foothold in a rapidly modernizing Poland that blended competitive labor costs with EU-level stability. Cities like Wrocław and Poznan turned into investment magnets, and Poland's manufacturing hub status climbed year after year. This is similar to what happens when a promising startup secures a massive Series A round. Suddenly, the right partners show up, talent flows in, and scaling becomes inevitable. The ripple effects extended deep into society, raising wages, boosting exports, and turning the Poland rise into something structural rather than temporary. But the real magic came from how Poland used EU money. Instead of sinking funds into short-lived projects, it built long-term assets, bridges, ports, energy networks, and industrial zones that still power the Poland future today. Travelers often say crossing from Ukraine into Poland feels like crossing economic eras, and that contrast is no accident. The EU years didn't just upgrade infrastructure, they upgraded national ambition. And this new ambition pushed Poland toward becoming one of Europe's indispensable production centers, setting the stage for its rise as Europe's manufacturing backbone. By the late 2010s, Poland had quietly become one of Europe's most reliable production engines. What started as foreign companies searching for lower costs evolved into a full-scale industrial ecosystem powering the Poland economy. Automotive giants like Volkswagen and Stellantis built massive plants, while companies producing aerospace components, household appliances, and IT hardware turned Poland into an essential node in European supply chains. This is not just growth, it was the maturation of the Poland manufacturing hub into something the EU couldn't function without. Strategically, Poland sits at the crossroads of Europe, and geography finally worked for it rather than against it. It became the natural bridge between Western Europe and the booming Eastern Europe growth markets. Logistics networks expanded, including Europe's second fastest-growing cargo airport in Warsaw and massive distribution centers near Lodz. In practical terms, this meant trucks, trains, and planes were constantly moving Polish-made products across the continent. It reminds me of watching a well-run warehouse, efficient, predictable, and absolutely vital for everything else to run smoothly. And then came specialization. Poland didn't settle for assembling low-cost goods. It moved into high-value manufacturing. Today, it produces 1.3 million cars a year, is a leader in lithium-ion battery components, and plays a key role in aerospace engineering. All of this reinforced Polish economic growth and heightened the country's role in Poland's geopolitics, since controlling parts of Europe's supply chain means controlling leverage. But manufacturing wasn't the final destination. As wages rose and talent deepened, Poland began shifting towards something even more valuable: innovation and advanced technology. Poland's shift from pure manufacturing to innovation wasn't accidental. It was the natural evolution of a country investing heavily in people. Universities in Warsaw, Krakow, and Wrocław consistently rank among Europe's top STEM centers, forming a talent pipeline that fuels Polish innovation and strengthens the Polish economy. This is why global tech giants like Google, Intel, and Samsung have opened R&D labs there. It's similar to watching a young athlete finally get the right coach. The raw talent was always present, but now it's being sharpened with purpose. The gaming industry is one of Poland's best showcases of this transformation. CD Projekt Red, the studio behind The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077, brought international attention to the country's creative and technical talent. But they're just the tip of the iceberg. Poland hosts over 500 gaming studios and a booming cybersecurity sector known for producing top-tier experts. This rise isn't just cultural, it's economic. High-skilled digital work has higher margins, accelerates Polish economic growth, and places Poland's workforce in a league far more competitive than low-cost manufacturing alone. But what truly sets Poland apart is its work culture. Young professionals blend Western ambition with Eastern resilience, creating an environment where problem-solving becomes second nature. Many investors say Poland reminds them of early 2000s South Korea. Rapid modernization, disciplined talent, and an obsession with catching up to and eventually surpassing the old powers. These dynamics strengthen Poland's future prospects, positioning it not just as a production center, but a technological contender. And at a moment when Europe's geopolitical map is being redrawn, this new layer of capability is reshaping the country's role on the continent. Poland's economic ascent naturally spilled over into geopolitics, turning the country into a central player in European strategy. Its position between Germany and the post-Soviet states has always been important, but now, with a stronger Poland economy and deeper integration into NATO, its influence is unmistakable. Defense spending surpassed 4% of GDP in 2024, the highest in the alliance, signaling Poland's determination to lead rather than follow. This shift changed the dynamics of Poland's geopolitics and elevated Warsaw's voice in shaping Europe's security and economic agenda. Infrastructure and energy diversification amplified this rise. Poland built LNG terminals, expanded gas pipelines, and reduced dependence on Russian energy far earlier than other European members.
These decisions weren't just economic, they were strategic, strengthening Eastern Europe growth potential while giving Poland leverage during Europe-wide crises. It's the kind of move seasoned investors admire, like diversifying a portfolio before volatility hits. And as supply chains reorganized after global shocks, companies increasingly saw Poland as one of the safest, most stable entries into the European market. What's more, Poland's firm stance on security has positioned it as a frontline guardian of the EU's eastern border. This has drawn in U.S. military support, foreign investment in defense manufacturing, and renewed attention from global partners exploring the Poland future as a geopolitical anchor. A country once viewed as Europe's periphery is now shaping debates in Brussels, setting standards for modernization, and influencing the continent's strategic direction. And with its footprint expanding, the question becomes, can Poland turn rising power into long-term economic leadership as it navigates the challenges ahead? Poland's momentum is impressive, but the path forward comes with real challenges that could shape the Poland future in unpredictable ways. Demographic decline is the most pressing. The population is shrinking, and by 2050, Poland may lose up to 4 to 5 million workers. This puts pressure on the Poland economy, as fewer young people must support a rapidly aging society. Experts often compare it to a high-performing company that suddenly struggles to hire enough talent to keep up with demand. Yet Poland's growing appeal to Ukrainian and Belarusian migrants offers a partial cushion if integrated wisely. Rising labor costs also pose a crossroads moment for Polish economic growth. Over the last decade, wages have nearly doubled in sectors like manufacturing and IT, raising competitiveness concerns, but also increasing domestic purchasing power. Investors watching the Poland manufacturing hub must now choose shift to automation, move up the value chain, or relocate production. For Poland, the winning strategy echoes what countries like Ireland and South Korea executed. Invest aggressively in innovation, attract global R&D centers, and nurture industries with higher margins. Reading works like The Rise of the Creative Class helps understand why human capital becomes the ultimate differentiator. Still, the greatest variable remains regional instability. Poland's proximity to conflict zones makes security a constant concern. But paradoxically, this is also what strengthens its role within NATO and EU policymaking. Businesses looking for safe entry into Eastern Europe growth markets increasingly see Poland as the anchor of stability. The next decade will test whether Poland's rise can overcome demographic strain, geopolitical uncertainty, and economic transitions to become a true Europe economic power. And that leads us naturally into the bigger question. What does all of this mean for anyone trying to understand or invest in Poland's long-term trajectory? Poland's rise wasn't luck, timing, or a one-off moment. It was the result of bold decisions, relentless adaptation, and a national mindset determined to rewrite its future. Now that you've seen how the Poland economy shifted from post-communist collapse to becoming a manufacturing engine, an innovation hub, and a rising geopolitical force, the real value lies in what you do with this knowledge. Whether you're an investor, a student of geopolitics, or someone who simply wants to understand the world's next power shifts, Poland offers a roadmap worth studying and even applying to your own life. Adapt fast, build relentlessly, and never underestimate long-term strategy. So let me ask you, what surprised you the most about Poland's trajectory? Do you see it becoming a top-tier European economic power? And in your opinion, which factor, manufacturing strength, Polish innovation, or its geopolitical position, will matter most over the next decade? Your perspective adds depth to this conversation, and debating these questions helps sharpen your understanding of global trends. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more content that reveals how countries rise, fall, and reshape the global order, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you'll never miss the next deep dive into the forces that shape our world.